what Neville said about I am. Have you ever stopped and truly listened to the words you speak after the sentence, I am? Because according to Neville Goddard, those two words are the most powerful words you will ever utter in your entire life. They are not just words. They are a declaration of identity, a command to your subconscious mind, and the blueprint of your reality. Every day, people unknowingly shape their future by what they attach to I am. When you say I am weak, life reflects weakness. When you say I am forgotten, the world mirrors rejection. But the moment you begin declaring, I am powerful, I am chosen, I am blessed, something shifts deep within your consciousness. Neville taught that God is not outside of you, waiting to change your life. The creative power is already within you, hidden in your awareness of being. Tonight, you are about to discover why your assumptions have been creating your reality, why imagination is more powerful than circumstance, and why mastering the meaning of I am can completely transform your destiny forever. I am is the name of God within you, according to Neville Goddard. There is no greater truth a person can discover than the power hidden inside the words, I am. Neville taught that these words are not ordinary language. They are sacred. They are divine. They are the very name of God expressed through human awareness. Every time you say, I am, you are announcing what you believe yourself to be, and your subconscious mind accepts that declaration as reality. Most people go through life unaware that they are constantly shaping their destiny through the identity they claim every single day. Think about how often people speak negatively about themselves without realizing the damage they are creating. They say, I am tired, I am unlucky, I am forgotten, I am not good enough. Neville believed these statements are not harmless emotions passing through the mind. They are commands impressed upon consciousness. The mind does not argue with what you repeatedly claim, it accepts it. Then life begins organizing circumstances, experiences, and even relationships around that inner assumption. Neville explained that the outer world is nothing more than a mirror reflecting the inner world of consciousness. This means your life is not randomly happening to you. It is responding to the concept you hold about yourself. If deep inside you believe, I am a failure, you will unconsciously attract situations that confirm failure. If you believe I am rejected, you will continue noticing rejection everywhere. But the beautiful truth Neville revealed is that the same power that creates limitation can also create freedom. The moment you change your I am, you begin changing your reality. Neville often referred to the biblical moment when Moses asked God for his name, and the answer came, I am that I am. Neville interpreted this spiritually rather than historically. He believed God's true entity exists as awareness itself. In other words, the presence of God is not separated from humanity. It lives within every person as consciousness. This is why your awareness of being is so powerful. Before you are rich or poor, confident or insecure, successful or struggling, you are first aware that you exist. That awareness is the foundation of all creation. Most people search outside themselves for power. They wait for opportunities, approval, validation, or signs from the world before believing in their worth. Neville completely reversed this thinking. He taught that everything begins within. The world does not define you first. You define yourself first. And then the world reflects that definition back to you. This is why guarding your I am is one of the most important things you will ever do. Imagine waking up every morning, and instead of speaking fear over your life, you deliberately begin declaring a higher identity. I am blessed. I am guided. I am abundant. I am loved. I am chosen for greatness. At first, your outer world may appear unchanged, but Neville taught that reality always follows consciousness. The seed is planted internally before it appears externally. Just as a farmer does not dig up the soil every day wondering where the harvest is, you must trust the unseen transformation happening within your subconscious mind. Neville believed many people remain trapped because they identify too strongly with present circumstances. They say, "But my life does not look successful. I do not feel loved. I do not see abundance." Yet Neville insisted that imagination and assumption are greater than temporary appearances. Your current reality is only the echo of past beliefs. If you persist in a new identity long enough, the external world must eventually conform. One of the most powerful lessons Neville taught is that you must never separate yourself from the greatness within you. Stop speaking weakness over your spirit. Stop identifying with fear, failure, and limitation. Every time you say "I am," you are using creative power. You are choosing the identity your subconscious mind will nourish and expand. So begin choosing carefully. Speak life over yourself. Speak power over your future. Speak abundance over your path. Because according to Neville Goddard, the words "I am" are not merely statements. They are the divine force within you shaping the entire direction of your life. Your assumption creates your reality. Neville Goddard taught one of the most life-changing principles a person could ever understand. Your assumption creates your reality. According to Neville, the world around you is not separate from your consciousness. Your dominant beliefs, inner conversations, and assumptions about yourself eventually harden into facts. Whether positive or negative, what you consistently accept as true begins shaping the experiences you encounter in everyday life. Most people believe life happens to them. They think circumstances control their emotions, identity, and future. If money is low, they assume they are unlucky. If relationships fail, they assume they are unworthy of love. If opportunities disappear, they assume success belongs only to others. Neville completely challenged this mindset. He taught that circumstances are not the cause of your state of being. They are the result of it. Your outer world is only reflecting the assumptions you have repeatedly impressed upon your subconscious mind. This is why Neville constantly emphasized the importance of self-concept. If you assume, "I am always rejected," life will continue presenting situations that mirror rejection. Not because the universe is punishing you, but because consciousness faithfully reproduces what you believe yourself to be. Your assumptions act like invisible instructions, shaping your reality behind the scenes. Many people unknowingly live inside negative assumptions they accepted years ago, often during painful experiences in childhood, relationships, or failures. Over time, those assumptions become automatic beliefs. But Neville taught that assumptions are not permanent. They can be changed. The moment you consciously choose a new assumption, you begin shifting the direction of your life. If you persistently assume "I am successful," your thinking changes, your energy changes, your reactions change, your expectations change. Eventually, your circumstances begin changing too. Neville believed reality has no choice but to mirror the state of consciousness you occupy consistently. One of Neville's most powerful teachings was the phrase, "Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled." He meant that instead of hoping your desire might happen someday, you must mentally and emotionally step into the state of already having it now. If you desire love, feel loved now. If you desire abundance, think from abundance now. If you desire confidence, walk in the assumption that confidence already belongs to you. This idea may sound difficult at first because most people are conditioned to believe only what they can physically see. Neville reversed that process completely. He taught that imagination comes first and physical reality comes second. The invisible assumption creates the visible result. Your inner world is the cause. The outer world is the effect. Imagine someone who has struggled financially for years. Every day they repeat thoughts like, "Money never stays with me," "Nothing works out for me," or "I will always struggle." Neville would say those assumptions are continually reproducing lack. But if that same person begins building a new identity, "I am financially secure. Opportunities flow toward me. I am worthy of abundance," a transformation begins internally first. At first, the change may feel unnatural because the old assumptions still fight for attention. But persistence is the key. Neville taught that repetition combined with feeling impresses the subconscious mind. The subconscious does not determine whether something is true or false. It simply accepts what is repeatedly felt and believed. This is why negative thinking becomes dangerous when practiced daily. People unknowingly hypnotize themselves into limitation through constant fearful assumptions. Yet the opposite is also true. A person can consciously hypnotize themselves into greatness. Neville encouraged people to stop worshipping external conditions and start mastering their inner state. Do not let temporary appearances decide your identity. If your present reality looks disappointing, remember that it is only the manifestation of old assumptions. New assumptions create new outcomes. The moment you refuse to identify with failure and begin assuming victory instead, the entire direction of your life starts changing. The powerful truth Neville wanted humanity to understand is this: you are never powerless. Your imagination, beliefs, and assumptions are constantly creating your experience. Therefore, choose your assumptions wisely. Speak carefully about yourself. Think intentionally about your future. Persist in the identity you desire to embody. Because according to Neville Goddard, what you assume to be true with feeling and persistence eventually becomes your reality. Feeling is the secret behind I am. In Feeling is the Secret, Neville Goddard revealed one of the most important spiritual principles he ever taught. Feeling is the secret. According to Neville, words alone do not create transformation. Repeating affirmations mechanically without emotional conviction produces little change. The true power behind every I am statement is the feeling attached to it. The subconscious mind responds not to empty language, but to emotion, belief, and inner experience. This is where many people fail without realizing it. They may spend hours saying positive affirmations like, I am wealthy, I am loved, or I am successful. Yet deep inside they still feel fear, doubt, insecurity, or lack. Neville explained that the subconscious mind is impressed by dominant feelings rather than surface level words. If your mouth says, I am confident, while your inner state feels weak and fearful, the subconscious accepts the feeling more than the statement. That is why Neville emphasized emotional embodiment. You must not merely say the words, you must feel them as true. You must emotionally enter the reality you desire before it physically appears. According to Neville, this is how creation works. Everything begins within consciousness first. Think about how powerful emotions already shape human experience every day. When someone feels anxious long enough, their entire body responds. Their energy changes. Their behavior changes. Their decisions change. Fear eventually begins creating fearful outcomes. The same principle applies positively. When a person genuinely feels worthy, loved, successful, or blessed, they unconsciously begin acting from that identity. Their posture changes, their expectations change, their reactions to life change, and reality gradually starts reflecting that internal state. Neville believed the subconscious mind is most impressionable during moments of deep emotion and relaxation. This is why he encouraged people to practice visualization before sleep. At night, when the conscious mind becomes quiet, the subconscious becomes more receptive. Neville taught people to imagine scenes implying their desire had already been fulfilled. Not hoping it will happen someday, but feeling as though it is already real now. If you desire financial abundance, do not merely repeat the words, I am rich. Feel the relief, freedom, and gratitude of already being financially secure. Imagine paying bills effortlessly. Imagine hearing someone congratulate you on your success. Feel the emotional reality of abundance within your imagination. According to Neville, those feelings impress the subconscious mind and begin producing corresponding experiences in the physical world. The same principle applies to love. Many people desire relationships while secretly feeling unworthy, abandoned, or rejected inside. Neville would say the subconscious continues reproducing the emotional state you occupy most consistently. If you constantly feel unloved, you attract experiences confirming that feeling. But when you begin feeling chosen, cherished, and valued internally, your outer relationships begin shifting to mirror that new identity. Neville constantly reminded people that imagination is not fantasy, it is creative power. Feeling gives life to imagination. Without feeling, imagination remains weak and ineffective. But when imagination is combined with emotional conviction, it becomes a force capable of reshaping consciousness itself. One of Neville's deepest teachings was that you do not attract what you want, you attract what you feel yourself to be. This changes everything. Many people desperately chase desires while internally feeling separated from them. They want wealth but feel poor. They want love but feel lonely. They want success but feel incapable. Neville taught that manifestation happens when the inner feeling changes first. This is why persistence is essential. At first, the new feeling may seem unnatural because the old emotional patterns have been practiced for years. But Neville insisted that if you continue returning to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, eventually it becomes natural. Once it feels natural internally, reality begins expressing it externally. The world today is filled with people speaking positive words while emotionally living in fear. Neville wanted people to understand that transformation is not about pretending. It is about inwardly becoming. Your dominant feeling is shaping your life every single day, whether you realize it or not. So guard your inner state carefully. Feel the reality you wish to experience. Feel peace before circumstances improve. Feel abundance before money arrives. Feel loved before external validation appears. Because according to Neville Goddard, feeling is the secret that activates the power hidden within the words, I am. Imagination activates the I am. Power. Neville Goddard believed that imagination is the greatest power given to humanity. He taught that imagination is not fantasy, daydreaming, or escapism. Imagination is God in action within the human mind. According to Neville, every creation first exists in imagination before it appears in physical reality. The life you experience outwardly is the delayed reflection of what you consistently imagine inwardly. This is why he taught that imagination activates the true power behind the words, I am. Most people underestimate the power of their imagination because they use it unconsciously. They imagine failure before an opportunity even begins. They imagine rejection before speaking to someone they love. They imagine disaster before anything has gone wrong. Without realizing it, they are emotionally rehearsing the exact reality they do not want. Neville explained that imagination does not distinguish between positive or negative images. Whatever you persistently imagine with feeling becomes impressed upon the subconscious mind and eventually expresses itself in the outer world. This is why Neville urged people to consciously direct their imagination instead of allowing fear and circumstances to control it. If imagination creates reality, then disciplined imagination becomes one of the greatest tools for transformation. When you imagine yourself as confident, successful, healthy, loved, or abundant, you are planting seeds in consciousness that must eventually grow into physical experience. Neville often said that people do not receive what they merely wish for. They receive what they become conscious of being. Imagination helps you step into that new state of being. If you want a different life, you must first see yourself differently in your mind. The outer transformation always begins internally. Imagine a person who has spent years believing they are insignificant. Their imagination constantly replays memories of failure, embarrassment, and disappointment. Every day they mentally rehearse limitation. Then one day they begin practicing Neville's teachings. Instead of imagining defeat, they start imagining success. They picture themselves speaking confidently, achieving goals, receiving opportunities, and living with peace. At first, it may feel unnatural because the old identity still feels familiar. But Neville taught that persistence in imagination gradually reshapes the subconscious mind. One of Neville's most famous methods was called living in the end. This meant imagining scenes that imply your desire has already happened. If you desire marriage, imagine wearing the ring and hearing congratulations. If you desire success, imagine someone praising your accomplishments. If you desire healing, imagine yourself energetic and free from pain. Neville believed these imaginal acts are not meaningless fantasies. They are creative acts shaping reality itself. He emphasized that imagination must be combined with feeling. Merely visualizing without emotional involvement has little effect. You must inwardly experience the scene as real. Feel the joy, relief, gratitude, and confidence of already being the person you desire to become. According to Neville, the subconscious accepts emotionally charged imagination as reality and begins working to externalize it. One of the most powerful truths Neville taught is that imagination allows you to transcend present circumstances. Your current reality may look painful, limited, or discouraging, but imagination gives you the ability to mentally move beyond appearances. Neville believed circumstances do not have the final authority, consciousness does. The person who masters imagination eventually masters life. Many people remain trapped because they constantly use imagination against themselves. They replay fears, arguments, failures, and worst-case scenarios over and over again. Neville warned that sustained negative imagination produces negative outcomes because consciousness faithfully reflects dominant inner images. But the moment a person takes control of imagination, they begin reclaiming creative power over their future. Neville wanted people to stop identifying with temporary limitations and start identifying with possibility. Through imagination, you can become mentally what you desire to be physically long before the world sees evidence of it. The unseen reality within eventually becomes the seen reality outside, so guard your imagination carefully. Feed it visions of victory instead of defeat. See yourself as powerful instead of powerless. Imagine abundance instead of lack. Imagine love instead of rejection. Because according to Neville Goddard, imagination is the bridge between your current identity and the reality hidden inside the words I am. Change your self-concept. Change your life. Neville Goddard taught that one of the greatest keys to transformation is changing your self-concept. According to Neville, your self-concept is the story you continuously tell yourself about who you are. It is the identity you accept deep within your consciousness. Long before circumstances appear in the outer world, they exist first as assumptions within the mind. This means the quality of your life is deeply connected to the way you see yourself internally. Most people spend their lives trying to change external conditions without ever changing the inner identity creating those conditions. They chase money while secretly believing they are poor. They seek love while feeling unworthy. They pursue success while identifying as failures deep inside. Neville believed this inner contradiction is the reason many people remain stuck in repeating cycles. The outer world can only mirror the self-concept you consistently occupy. If a person secretly believes, I am not important, life will often reflect situations that reinforce insignificance. If someone identifies as unlucky, they begin expecting disappointment everywhere they go. These assumptions become so automatic that people stop questioning them. They start treating limitations as facts, instead of recognizing them as conditioned states of consciousness. Neville wanted people to understand that identity is not fixed. Your self-concept can be transformed. The moment you change the story you tell yourself, you begin changing the direction of your life. This is why Neville constantly emphasized the power of I am. Whatever follows those words becomes part of your identity. If you repeatedly say, I am broken, I am rejected, or I am a failure, your subconscious mind accepts those statements as truth and continues reproducing experiences that match them. But if you deliberately begin affirming, I am worthy, I am successful, I am loved, and I am powerful, you begin planting new seeds within consciousness. At first, the new self-concept may feel unnatural, because the old identity has been practiced for years. Neville compared this process to moving into a new state of being. Just as a person becomes comfortable living in a physical home over time, the mind becomes comfortable living in whatever identity is repeated consistently. If you have lived in fear for years, confidence may initially feel unfamiliar. If you have lived in lack, abundance may feel impossible. But Neville insisted that persistence changes what feels natural. One of the deepest truths Neville taught is that people do not attract what they want. They attract what they believe themselves to be. This changes the entire approach to manifestation. Instead of obsessing over external goals, Neville encouraged people to focus on becoming internally aligned with the version of themselves who already possesses those desires. For example, if you desire love, stop identifying as abandoned or unwanted. Begin seeing yourself as cherished and valuable now. If you desire success, stop speaking like someone defeated by life. Begin thinking, feeling, and acting from the self-concept of a successful person. Neville believed reality always reorganizes itself around your dominant identity. This is why mental conversations are so important. Neville explained that many people spend all day internally criticizing themselves, replaying painful memories, and imagining failure. Those inner conversations strengthen negative self-concepts. But when you consciously begin speaking life, confidence, and possibility within yourself, your subconscious mind gradually accepts the new identity. Neville also taught that you must stop allowing the opinions of others to define your self-concept. Too many people build their identity around criticism, rejection, or past mistakes. They carry labels placed on them by family, society, or painful experiences. Neville believed true freedom begins when you stop identifying with those limitations and consciously choose who you desire to become. The beautiful truth is that no matter what your past looks like, you can create a new self-concept beginning now. You are not trapped by yesterday's identity unless you continue claiming it. Every moment gives you another opportunity to declare a higher version of yourself. So stop speaking weakness over your life. Stop rehearsing failure in your mind. Stop identifying with fear, rejection, and limitation. Begin claiming a new identity with conviction and feeling. Say, I am confident. I am abundant. I am loved. I am chosen. Because according to Neville Goddard, the moment you change your self-concept, you begin changing your entire reality.